Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the vlog here for Addiction Hope. Pastor Ryan Moffat here. And today I want to talk about what you do when you're living with a roommate or maybe with a spouse who's going through a drug addiction. And I want to start by telling you a story. In my 20s, I came out of Bible college excited, fired up, young man, ready to change the world. And believe me, I was super enthused, educated, fired up, ready to go. And what happened in my 20s is slowly but surely the idealism was drained out of me. Difficult situations, difficult people, things I couldn't control, emotions I couldn't control as a youth pastor to many students. And what I ended up figuring out during that season of my life was, even though I had a desire to help people, the honest truth is without God's help, I couldn't help anybody. And so if you're in a situation where your heart is empathetic and sympathetic and you have a strong desire for mercy, be encouraged that you're wired that way. But also, I just want to tell you, it's a real dangerous, hazardous work to engage and work in situations where there's emotional and spiritual trouble and trauma. And you might have all the best intentions in the world working with people, but I just want to assure you that if you take on the responsibility of somebody else's addiction, you get into a weird codependency, and that will wear you down. So I just want to give you 3 things today to think about if you're in a situation where it's really hard. Number one, I want to tell you is the first thing is this: you're actually powerless to change your roommate. I don't know if you know that, but there's real power, and there is real growth, and there's real change that happens when you just acknowledge, I cannot change the situation. In the Bible, there's this guy named John the Baptist, and he shows up and he's doing all this great stuff, and everyone's coming to him saying, John, you're awesome. We want to follow you. And he says something amazing. He says, I am not the Christ. And I think many of us just need to acknowledge, man, I am not God, and I can't give you all the resources you need. I am for you. I want to help you. I'm here for you, but I cannot backfill the emotional and relational needs that only God can fill. So the first thing is you're actually powerless to change. Second thing I want to tell you today is that when you're living with an addict, there is a real tendency to get sucked into the tyranny of the urgent. Addicts are pretty notorious for creating some drama, and at times, maybe not purposely, but they can really suck you into it. And when there is a situation where you think, oh, I'll jump in there, I'll fix this thing real quick, I just want to encourage you, it's not your job to fix the situation, okay? If you're living with an addict, whether it be a food addict, a drug addict, prescription drug addict, alcohol, pornography, any of those real self-destructive behaviors, you do not need to jump into a dramatic situation that they've created and rescue them. In fact, at times, we actually hinder their growth by saving them out of hard situations, and that's not our job. So I just encourage you, don't get sucked into it. And then the third thing I want to tell you is that you actually have a voice, and that your standards of what you want in your home, what you allow in your home, what you don't allow in your home, those standards actually matter. And so if you do not want a drug-free environment and you're passionately fighting for that, and if you need to make serious boundaries with this person, maybe it's even a spouse, you got to make serious boundaries with a spouse, you are entitled to say, I do not want certain things in my home. And you should both demand it and hold folks accountable to those standards that you set. I'll tell you this: with 4 young children in my home, I'm careful with what I allow in my home. I'm careful about the media that we do. I'm careful about who has phones and what's on those phones. I'm careful about who comes into our home, what comes into our home. Not because I just want to be overly protective as a parent, but I do want to protect their purity. I do want to protect their hearts and their minds as young people. And when there's all sorts of crazy addictions going on, what can happen is that those addictions can get passed to the next generation without us even thinking about it. And so be encouraged If you're in a hard relationship, be encouraged today. Hard relationships are part of life. God's grace is sufficient for you. He can meet your deepest needs, and he can give you the wisdom. So thanks so much for coming, checking us out. Have an awesome day. See ya.